From the heart of the Space City to the heart of Gen Z, welcome to Next Gen Conversation. Not Dad's Talk Radio. Ethan talks to you about the issues and events that matter to our generation. This is the Next Gen Report with Ethan Buchanan.
Hey everybody, how are we? Real quick, if you're listening on the podcast right now, go check me out on social media @_ Ethan Buchanan, BUCHANAN on X. We're also on YouTube now, by the way. Just search the Next Gen Report or Ethan Buchanan on YouTube. You might have to dig a little bit because it's a new channel, but it's there, I pinky promise. You can find the links a lot easier on social media. I have them up. It's easy to find. We're doing video with the podcast now because that's the wave of the future, and God forbid if I ever be accused of not being on board with current trends. I am. I'm very hip. I'm 20-ish years old, so I have to be on board with the trends. That's what they told me. Get into AM radio. You don't have to be modern. That's what I was told. Here we are, video podcast. Glad to do it. Happy to do it. All right, let's talk about the ever common topic, ye old Cracker Barrel. They got a talking to from the president himself, which is kind of fun. Donald Trump put out this several days ago. I think it was on Monday. It may have been Tuesday. Cracker Barrel should go back to the old logo. Let me try it in my Trump voice, actually. Cracker Barrel should go back to the old logo. Admit a mistake based on customer response to the ultimate poll, and manage the company better than ever before. They got $1 billion worth of free publicity if they play their cards right. That's true, by the way. He's right. Remember the golden rule. All publicity is good publicity. So they did indeed get $1 billion of free publicity if they play their cards right. So can they play their cards right? I don't know. Let's see. All right, back to Trump voice. Very tricky to do, but a great opportunity. Some say the best opportunity, actually. Have a major news conference today. Make Cracker Barrel a winner again. Remember, in just a short period of time, I made the United States of America the hottest country. Everybody says it's the hottest. They say, wow, Mr. President, that's a hot country. Anywhere in the world 1 year ago, it was dead. Good luck. So that's basically Donald Trump saying what we've all been saying, what I've been saying. Make Cracker Barrel great again. It's not hard to do. It's easy to do. Cracker Barrel was great before, all right? Undo all of the stupid stuff you're doing that nobody asked for, namely the logo change. And guess what? After rambling on for about 3 days about how, no, actually, everybody likes the new Cracker Barrel, which was incorrect. We all knew it was incorrect. Nobody liked it. They finally admitted that they made a mistake. Here it is. Cracker Barrel has tweeted this out. By the way, it's worth noting, this is Cracker Barrel's first tweet in like 3 years. They actually scrubbed their Twitter account. I went back digging through old tweets for the Sunday show, and Cracker Barrel had basically not tweeted after 2023-ish. They've now cleaned their Twitter account out. All their old tweets are gone. And they've just posted this announcement that they're going back to the old Cracker Barrel logo. They said, we thank our guests for sharing your voice and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away, and our old timer will remain. At Cracker Barrel, it's always been and always will be about serving up delicious, warm welcomes and the kind of country hospitality that feels like family. As a proud American institution, our 70,000 hardworking employees look forward to welcoming you to our table soon. And then they put out the picture of the old Cracker Barrel logo so you know that it's sincere. Hey, this is good. This is good. This is progress. Now, I want to remind you, it's not just the logo we had a problem with. We didn't like the new logo because it was also corporate minimalist slop, but the logo accompanied their new redesigns of their interiors, which are also corporate minimalist slop. So redoing the logo is good. That's progress. We want that. That's only about half of it. You've got to pledge to stop remodeling your stores. And I'll even cut you a bone here. I won't ask you to go back and remodel or unremodel the stores that you've remodeled, because I understand that that's a big ask. That's a lot of money to go repaint an entire restaurant, let alone repaint however many restaurants they've already gotten to with the corporate minimalist garbage. But stop dead in the tracks with the remodels. We went into great detail on the Sunday podcast about how bad the interiors were and how great the old ones were. So the logo fixing is good. We do want that. That is progress. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's half of it. You've got to stop undoing the interiors of your restaurants. In other news, this was about wokeness. That was one of the big questions. Were they doing this to be woke, or was it just a bad business decision? I think it was wokeness. And the reason I think it was wokeness is because now they're trying to go in and clean up all their wokeness after the fact. So Robbie Starbuck on X pointed out that Cracker Barrel is now de-wokeifying their website. They had a bunch of stuff about all their Pride Parade sponsorships that they were doing on their website in the past. Here's what, if you're watching on the YouTube video or on X, because I upload them on X as well, you should go watch. If you're listening, go watch and listen. Do both. Why not? Here's what their website used to look like, talking about how much they love having all their Pride stuff at the forefront of everything that they do. And it just went on and on and on and on about how great all of the Pride stuff they were doing and how they were sponsoring Nashville Pride and all that stuff. This was on their website. It's gone now. This is that same page on the website today. That's good too. We don't care about your gayness. We're here for pancakes, okay? Now, they're still sponsoring Nashville Pride, as this one Twitter user points out. And, you know, they're not going to stop sponsoring that. Come to terms with it. But it tells you, the fact that they're trying to clean all of this off of their main website tells you that it was about the wokeness when they did this big rebrand. And it you know that because they're trying to hide it. They wouldn't be trying to hide it if it had nothing to do with the rebrand. So that's my 2 cents on the topic. It was woke the entire time. We knew that, but they're also undoing it, which is good. That's what I want from them. I will accept the fact that you did a little bit of wokeness if you undo the wokeness. So thank you very much for that, Cracker Barrel. We appreciate it. All right, stay tuned. We have got a great show coming up. We will be right back in just a second with even more. We're going to take a quick break because this is formatted for radio. So stay tuned. We will be right back. I'm Ethan Buchanan. This is the Next Gen Report. Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Now I think is a good time to mention that I have never in my life been on a plane. Never happened. Just never. That's a lie. I've been on one plane one time. It was Elvis's plane at Graceland and it never left the ground. Because it's a museum. That's the only plane I've ever been on, to my knowledge. Unless I was brought onto a plane as a wee baby and wasn't told about it. But as far as I'm aware, I've never actually flown on a plane. And I don't ever intend to. It does not seem like a particularly pleasurable experience, not to mention particularly safe. And I understand, statistically speaking, it's more safe than driving in a car, whatever. I don't care. I don't trust it. I'm not getting on one. One, because I don't think it's safe. Two, the other people on the plane I feel like are going to get on my nerves. Here's why I say that. Southwest rolls out new conditions for plus-size passenger refunds. New rules require customers of size. The term here is fat people. New rule requires fat people to purchase additional seats before traveling starting January 27th. This actually makes a lot of sense. If you are so girthy, if you are so substantial a person that you require 2 seats in order to sit comfortably on an aeroplane, you should pay for 2 seats. All right? That's just fair. There's a limited number of seats. You're taking up more than one, you pay for it. Starting January 27th, when flights with assigned seating begin taking off, plus size passengers should proactively purchase the needed number of seats prior to travel to ensure the additional adjacent seat is available, the airline said on its website. I just hope that consumers are aware of this change, and I wonder if plus-size people will skip out on flying with them at all because of them not knowing if the flight is sold out or not. Jeff Jenkins, founder of plus-size travel blog Chubby Diaries, told USA Today. Good God in heaven. So, as I've previously stated, I've never been on a plane, so I did some investigating into how big of a problem, pun intended, this actually is. And it's a pretty big problem, pun intended. Ollie London posted this video. If you're not familiar with Ollie London, I highly recommend you keep up with his work. He does a lot of really great stuff. You may remember him. He went viral years ago for being the transgender person, the transgender English guy that went so far off the transgender ramp, basically, that he ended up trying to get a bunch of surgeries to make himself look Korean. Like he identified not only as transgender, but as like trans race. He has since completely reversed course. I don't know if detransition is the right word, but he's on our side now. He's a brilliant guy, very, very smart, and he's done a great job of calling out the gender ideology movement. He's also calling out the fat people on the airplanes movement. He posted this video, which baffled me severely, of this significantly sized woman, I believe is the politically correct term, complaining about how difficult it was for her to fly because of how big she is.
My body isn't the problem. The system is.
Okay, let me stop you right there. I can tell just from this video, your body is the problem. All right? I'm sorry. I don't mean to be controversial. Clearly, your body is the problem. Continue.
Airlines are making it difficult for plus-size people to travel by designing seats that are too small for even the average human.
All right, again, I've never been on a plane. I've seen plenty of pictures of plane seats. I think I fit in the average size person. I'm somewhere in the category of 160 to 170-ish pounds. I feel like I'd probably be fine. I feel like she's the problem. That's just me.
My worst experience on a flight was this one time when I was flying standby and I got stuck in the bulkhead row where the armrest couldn't be moved. The flight was full, so I had no choice but to stay in the seat. I endured excruciating pain for hours, wedged between the armrests, which left bruises on my body. I was on the verge of tears by the end and in so much pain that I almost vowed to never fly again.
All right, the video's freaking out on me, but you get the picture. She's huge. She's very huge. Oh, wait, here we go. It's back.
Physical pain lasted for days, but the emotional toll of being treated like I didn't belong was even harder to recover from. Airlines aren't doing anything at all.
Okay, how crazy is it? Just the entitlement. She believes that the entire world should revolve around how big she is. Here's a crazy idea. This is crazy, I know, but hear me out on it. Maybe, just maybe, you just lose the weight, lady. Rather than demanding that the entire airline industry cater to the fact that you are ginormous, look at the video. If you're listening on the podcast right now, go find me on social media, go find the video. Look at how huge this woman is. She is a big woman. And I'll be the first to admit, I got a little bit of fluff on me. I work in radio. I sit all the time. I've probably got some weight that I can lose. And she is massive. Good grief. Just lose the weight and stop demanding all of society cater to your every whim. It's preposterous. All right, that's enough of that. Let's stop talking about fat people. Let's talk about Donald Trump. Here it is. Donald Trump has moved to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. This unprecedented move erodes the Fed's independence, interfering with its ability to fight inflation. All right, the Fed isn't fighting inflation. I don't know if you noticed. They've done a bang-up job of that. Inflation is terrible. It's been terrible for a while. They're not fighting inflation. All that aside, I think there's a decent argument that Trump constitutionally can fire this lady, and there's also a decent argument that he can't. This will be for the courts to sort out, but it's worth pointing out that he has moved to fire her. The Democrats, of course, I praised them the other day for being pro Cracker Barrel, or pro OG Cracker Barrel, I should say. Now I'm going to bash them for being pro this lady. This is a blatantly authoritarian move that puts our economy and Americans' retirement savings at risk. I feel like it's probably not going to hurt your retirement that much. That's just a guess. I could be wrong. I'm pretty confident I'm not. The Democrats, of course, are going all out to defend this lady. Here is Hakeem Jeffries, his statement on this. Dr. Lisa Cook is the first black woman. There it is. You can't ever fire her because she's black, guys. Those are the rules. Dr. Lisa Cook is the first black woman ever to serve on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Donald Trump is trying to remove her without a shred of credible evidence that she has done anything wrong. And this gets to the crux of it. Democrats immediately rushed to the argument that Donald Trump is just trying to fire this lady because she's black. That's not the case. Donald Trump is trying to fire this lady because she allegedly committed mortgage fraud. All right. So here it is from the New York Post. Cook's firing comes after Federal Housing Finance Director Bill Pulte, I think that's how you pronounce that, accused the Federal Reserve Board member of falsifying bank documents and property records to secure better loan terms in a criminal referral sent to Attorney General Pam Bondi last week. Ironically enough, if you remember, this is exactly what they charged Donald Trump with. I think it was in 2023 or 24. It was one of the later cases, one of the ones Letitia James hit him with. They said Donald Trump lied about his property value so that he could get better loan terms. And now here she is lying about, allegedly lying about whether or not she's going to have these homes that she's buying be her primary residence so that she can get better loan terms. So here's the actual details of it. Somebody actually called Hakeem Jeffries out for this directly. The color of her skin does not change the facts. Evidence that you dishonestly claim does not exist. Number one, she signed a mortgage for a condo to be her primary residence in Michigan in June 2021, and that she would be moving in within 60 days after execution of the security instrument. I don't know what that means. She also signed a mortgage for a home in Atlanta in July of 2021, which she also said would be her primary residence. And here's her signature on both of these. So we'll let this play out in the courts, but that looks like pretty damning evidence to me. I don't know. But again, this was never about race. It's about the fact that she allegedly, and I think with credible evidence, committed mortgage fraud. I thought nobody was above the law, Democrats. I really did. But more and more you're proving, actually, we the Democrats are above the law. You cannot hold us to the same standard. This is ridiculous. All right, we've got a lot more coming up. We're going to talk about England in a minute. So stay tuned. We will be right back. This is the Next Gen Report. Okay. UK has got a massive, massive problem. That's the United Kingdom. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. It's a Europe-wide problem, by the way. Let's not, we'll be picking on the UK specifically today, but let's not pretend that this is just the UK. This is all of Europe. They have had the same immigration problems that we have. And by immigration problems, I mean they have opened their borders wide the hell open and are just letting people who have no intention of assimilating to their culture or values run roughshod through the country. And then on top of that, they're taking their entire legal system and laws and they're flipping them to cater to these essentially third worlders who are now claiming refugee status or asylum status or whatever they need to say in order to be allowed to stay in the United Kingdom. Because here's the dirty little secret. Western Christian values build better countries than Muslim values. That is an objective fact. It just is. Look at the very vast majority of Muslim countries. They're third world countries at best. And then look at any number of Western Christian nations. It's as close to paradise as we'll get on earth. We invented the first world. Western Christians did that. Islam did not. Hate me for saying it. These are the facts. All right? So obviously, people now want to come to the better country. But Muslims refuse to let go. These immigrant third world Muslims coming into places like the UK refuse to let go of things like Sharia law, which is objectively and undeniably, completely and utterly incompatible with Western Christian societies. That is an objective fact. And we're going to delve way deep into that in this segment, maybe a little bit into the next, depending on how I feel. So, for starters, there is an epidemic of violence and sexual assaults against British women on trains, warns the British Transport Authority. Violent crimes against women and girls are up 59% since 2021. Sexual offenses up 10% in a year. That is a major problem. And it is Europe-wide, but it is really bad in the UK. These stats, I don't know how legitimate they are because this is coming from Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt. But the year 2000, England and Wales, rapes recorded, 8,593. 2024, England and Wales, 68,109. For 24 years, that is a mind-boggling jump. And again, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know exactly how legitimate those numbers are, but I'm inclined to agree with them. And here is why. Our rape gang inquiry today released research detailing 85 local authorities in which gang-based sexual exploitation of children is taking place or has historically done so. This is one of the most comprehensive exposés of the rape gang scandal to date. So, if you haven't been paying attention to UK politics, which most of you probably haven't because we're Americans, why would we? There apparently has been a number of Sharia law gangs that are basically just facilitating the long-term grooming and rape of young European women in the UK. This has been an ongoing problem. It's cropped up here and there, headlines about it on X. If you're not on X a lot, you probably have not seen it. This is another reason why it's good to be on X. You get information there that you do not get in the mainstream media. And we frankly don't have the time to cover on the radio most of the time. So, get on X, follow me while you're there, @_Ethan Buchanan. This has been a major problem. Because the dirty little secret about Sharia law is men are pretty much allowed to do just about whatever they want to women. Women are property. If you consider yourself a feminist, your greatest enemy in the world ever is Sharia law in Islam. I hate to break it to you. I'm sorry to deliver the bad message, but there it is. This is a fact. Here's a map, by the way. This is the United Kingdom. This is all the different jurisdictions that are, I believe, allegedly, quote unquote, complicit in these rape gangs. They've either allowed it to happen or just kind of swept it under the rug or what have you. That's a huge problem. This is a crisis. This is national suicide. The United Kingdom has allowed itself to completely be conquered by third world Sharia law Muslims for no discernible reason. Every single person should be concerned about this. Every single person. Here's this young boy. This, I believe, is an older video. I've seen it before. But for years, more and more, I guess, English folks, UK, I don't know what the term is for the UK, but Britons, Scots, whatever you want to call them, all of the above, have been calling this out more and more. They're sitting here saying, hey, we have an amazing cultural heritage and national identity. We're the freaking United Kingdom. We're an amazing country, or at least we were. Why is our national identity being shoehorned in the favor of Muslim immigrants who are not assimilating to our culture even slightly? Here, this young lad is calling this out. Again, this is a couple of years old, but it makes a good point.
In schools, they're pressuring us to learn about Islam and learn about the people that are coming over. I don't want to learn about that. I want to learn about my culture, my beliefs, and I'm proud to be English. Yeah.
Have they taught you about the Bill of Rights?
No.
Did you learn about the Battle of Agincourt?
No. In school, they were teaching us about Islam, about Prophet Muhammad.
All right, it's freezing up here again because my Wi-Fi is terrible right now. I don't know why. I apologize. But how insane is that? He hasn't learned about the Battle of Agincourt. He hasn't learned about the Bill of Rights. These are key moments in British history or Western history, and instead he's learning about the Prophet Muhammad. who did, count it, 0 things to benefit the United Kingdom. I can count the contributions of the Muslim world to the United Kingdom on 0 fingers. Watch, ready? Boom, nothing, done.
And all their ideologies, they barely cover Christianity at all.
Did they tell you about how he was a warlord who brutally murdered people?
They wouldn't say any of that. And when I tried to stand up and say that some of them things, I would get in trouble for it. Suspended from school because apparently I was being racist. I wasn't. I was just trying to,
You're questioning an...
So when he tries to call out the fact that the Prophet Muhammad was a vile, evil warlord, and that Islam got its start as basically a warrior cult where you just go and conquer and murder anyone who wouldn't convert to Islam, he gets called racist for that. This is what's going on in the United Kingdom. If you speak up for the fact that third world Muslim ideology is not compatible with first world Christian Western nations, you get labeled a racist. I want to play this video, but I don't think I can just because of how many F-bombs are in it. But let me give you the brief summary. These 2 girls are being basically chased and harassed by what I believe, from the details I've been able to scrounge up online, is another one of these third world Muslim immigrants. And he's basically, as I understand it, sexually harassing these girls who I believe are 12 and 14 from what I've been able to discern online. It reaches the point where this young girl has to do this. She has to pull this knife and hatchet out from her back pocket and in order to ward off this guy that's basically sexually harassing her and her sister. She ended up getting arrested for this because you're not allowed to brandish a knife or a hatchet in the United Kingdom. Remember, they have no Second Amendment. They're not allowed knives, let alone a firearm, to defend themselves. She got arrested for this. And I'd play you the audio, but I just can't. There's too many F-bombs in it. You can hear the fear in their voices. They feel like they're about to be raped. And for good reason, because here it is right here. Here's another headline that is, I think, technically unrelated, but it makes a point. Horror end. Chilling CCTV shows asylum seeker prowling area before stabbing a girl 17 to death days after raping a woman. How in the hell does this happen in a supposedly first world country? I'll tell you how it happens. They don't have freedom of speech and they don't have the Second Amendment. So they can't call out the fact that, hey, these ideologies aren't compatible with ours because that's racist. And they can't defend themselves against the people that are perpetuating these ideologies that are evil. They are evil ideologies because you're not allowed to have a weapon. This 12-year-old girl has to pull a knife and a hatchet to defend herself and her sister from being raped by a third world immigrant. And she ends up in jail for that. And we're supposed to believe that this is fine, this is okay, that we're just supposed to allow this to happen? And I know it's the United Kingdom, so you might say, okay, well, it's not happening in the United States. Well, guess what? It is happening here in the United States. Not to this degree and not this severe, and thankfully not with the same results. But don't think for 1 second that this wouldn't happen in the United States if we gave them even an inch of room on it. Never give up your Second Amendment. Never give up your First Amendment. This is why. This is exactly why. The UK is case in point. Pray for that entire country because it is in the dumps. All right, we've got a lot more to talk about. I will be right back. All right, let's get back real quick just for a second on this situation in the UK. I want to show you real quick. There is some hope. This frame right here, if you're listening, you can't see it. Go follow me on X @_Ethan Buchanan. It's up there. Here she is brandishing the knife and the hatchet. This has very much become a rallying cry online, which is nice to see. especially for folks in England. There's a bunch of like AI pictures of her as like a Scottish warrior, William Wallace type, brandishing these weapons, stuff like this. I will protect my family. It's nice to see. I'm glad to see this spirit in most of the folks in the UK, so far as I can see. There are a few people that are stupid and say things like this. This is a random account that has been anonymized by whoever tweeted this, or who is this? J Media Group took this screenshot, I imagine, and censored the information of the person who posted this. But somebody said she was arrested for having a knife and axe in public. Honestly, what did she expect? There are plenty of legal self-defense options, but those scream attempted murder, not protection. The best defense is a really good offense. I've said this time and time again. This may be controversial of me, but I firmly believe if someone tries to rape you, you are within your rights to turn their head into a canoe. That's why we have the Second Amendment here in the United States. That's why the first thing that I did when I married my wife was say, look, babe, here's a firearm. Here's how you load it. Here's how you chamber it. Here's how you shoot it. Put it in your holster. Do not leave the house without it. That's why. The UK does not have that right. 12-year-old girls are forced to use a hatchet and a knife to protect themselves from Muslim rapists. For whatever reason, we decided that was okay. But thankfully, people are speaking up about this. People are rallying. This is DC Drano who posted this one, but there's a ton of European accounts that have posted things similar to this, just basically rallying behind this girl and the situation as a whole, which is great to see. So, again, I said it in the last segment. I'll say it now because it bears repeating. Never, ever, 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 ever compromise on the First and Second Amendment. They are critically important for exactly this reason. Exactly this reason. Speaking of the First and Second Amendment, let's talk about the First Amendment. That's the right to practice your religion as you so choose, unless your religion is Sharia law, which allows you to rape people, in which case you're not allowed to do that. But we have had a run-in with the First Amendment and Donald Trump recently. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Trump signs executive order banning flag burning, warns those who desecrate the flag will get a year in jail. This is raising a lot of questions for a lot of people about the constitutionality of all of this. A lot of people are saying the First Amendment allows you to burn the flag. That's free speech. It's a form of protest. You're allowed to do it. I don't like it when people burn the flag. I don't think you should burn the flag, but I do think you should be allowed to, depending. There is a case to be made that burning the flag is done almost exclusively in order to sort of fuel and incite further rioting. That's what we saw a lot of during the 2020 George Floyd riots and a lot of the other kind of left-wing riots that have gone along with that. You'll see people burning the flag and trying to use that to hype up the crowd to then go do more violence. That's probably a problem. It seems to me that that's kind of what Donald Trump is trying to target here, not just burning the flag. And the reason I said that is because of the actual text of the executive order. The Department of Justice is ordered to probe all incidents of setting the Stars and Stripes ablaze and bring charges where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment. That is the critical note here. If we can do this without actually falling afoul of the First Amendment, I support it to a certain extent. This will likely result in some Supreme Court action here, which I think is good. Let's clarify this issue. We have previously had Supreme Court justices speak on this. Here's Antonin Scalia, one of the greats, saying, hey, you might not like it, I don't like it, but the First Amendment does protect flag burning. Here he is, the late, great Antonin Scalia.
If I were king, I would not allow people to go about burning the American flag. However, we have a First Amendment which says that the right of free speech shall not be abridged, and it is addressed in particular to speech critical of the government. I mean, that was the main kind of speech that tyrants would seek to suppress. Burning the flag is a form of expression. Speech doesn't just mean written words or oral words. It could be semaphore. Burning a flag is a symbol that expresses an idea. I hate the government is unjust, whatever.
If you're not sure, then in the end, and no one knows the Constitution better than you do, doesn't it come down to your personal interpretation of the Constitution? If it isn't clear-cut, which it clearly isn't, you in the end have to make an opinion, don't you?
Well, don't forget this person has to be convicted by a jury of 12 people who unanimously have to find that he was inciting to riot. So, it's not all up to me. It would be up to me to say that there was not enough evidence for the jury to find that, perhaps. But ultimately, the right of jury trial is the protection.
So Antonin Scalia is basically saying exactly what this executive order appears to say from what limited analysis I can do on it. Because, again, I'm not a legal expert by any means. I'm just a commentator. But if you're burning the American flag in order to incite a riot, yeah, I think there should be some punishment for that. If you're just burning the American flag as a form of protest, saying, hey, I dislike the government burning the flag, okay, I don't like it, you shouldn't do it, but you're allowed to, fair enough. So the text of this, I think, the fact that the order says where it will not run afoul of the First Amendment, I think that's very important, and it's good that they put that in there. Second of all, I think it's worth pointing out, like the lectern guy does, go give this guy a follow if you don't. You may remember him as the guy who, during January 6th, grabbed Nancy Pelosi's Speaker of the House lectern and moved it and did time in federal prison for it. I've met him. He's a great guy. The executive order on its face is a bad call and an affront to free speech, which should be defended at all costs. I don't know if I'd agree with that just because of the actual text of it, but consider those who would burn our flag and ask yourself if they ever stop there. They are communists and foreign invaders seeking to destroy our country. I don't know what the right way forward is, but I know the current model is not sustainable. And this is right. We've got to figure something out. So I don't like the precedent that this may or may not be setting, this executive order, but the lectern guy is right. We got to start doing something. Our country is full of people who want to destroy it. That's not healthy. That is a problem. And you can say, hey, I hate this country. I don't like it. But the moment you start actually trying to destroy the country, you've crossed a line. This isn't just freedom of speech. You're a threat to our very societal foundations. So, is this the right way to go about it? I don't know. But something needs to be done. And as long as we can do this without actually running afoul of the First Amendment, I think it's a good idea. I do. Especially if we're just saying, hey, we're going to hit you with some extra penalties for inciting riots. I think that's even more of a good thing. Because, again, this will help crack down on the rioting. So we'll see how this actually plays out. We'll see what the Supreme Court ends up eventually saying on this. And that's when I'll make my final judgment. I'm cautious right now. I'm cautious. I'll say that. Anyway, that is all I have got for us today. I want to real quick say the show is looking for sponsors. The Next Gen Report, we need some people to get behind us, frankly. Let me put it that way. So if you're interested at all in becoming a part of this program, if you've got a business you want to tell our listeners about, or you just like the show and you want to put some money behind it, reach out to me. Shoot an email to thenextgenreport@gmail.com. thenextgenreport@gmail.com. Introduce yourself. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if I can help you by lending my platform to you, or if you can help me by giving me money. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Go follow me on X, all the rest, @_Ethan Buchanan. This is the Next Gen Report. We'll be back Sunday at 7 p.m. on AM 950 KPRC.